Hey everybody, tonight, we're diving into the wild world of big oil, and specifically one of its biggest players, Exxon Mobil. Buckle up, because it's gonna be a bumpy ride. Our story begins way back in 1882, in the heart of Texas. This was a time when cowboys roamed free and oil was just starting to bubble up from the ground. That's when a group of savvy businessmen led by John D. Rockefeller formed the Standard Oil Company. Little did they know they were about to strike it richer than a gold-plated gusher. Standard Oil quickly became a powerhouse, gobbling up smaller oil companies like a hungry, oil baron at an all-you-can-eat buffet. By the early 1900s, they controlled a whopping 90% of America's oil production. That's right, 90%. Imagine one company having that much power over, well, anything. This kind of dominance made Standard Oil a household name, but not necessarily in a good way. People started to grumble about monopolies and unfair practices, and let me tell you folks, when the people grumble, the government tends to listen. Eventually the government stepped in and broke up Standard Oil into smaller companies. But don't worry, the story doesn't end there. So, Standard Oil is no more. But its legacy lives on through its many offspring. One of those offspring was a little company called Jersey Standard, which focused on, you guessed it, oil. They were busy setting up shop all over the globe, from Sumatra to South America. Meanwhile, another Standard Oil descendant, Vacuum Oil, was making waves with its innovative lubricants. See, cars were becoming a thing and those engines needed some serious lubrication. Vacuum Oil provided just that, making them a vital part of the burgeoning automotive industry. These two companies, Jersey Standard and Vacuum Oil, were like those kids in high school who everyone knew would end up together. And guess what? In 1931 they did just that, merging to create, drumroll please, Standard Oil Company, New Jersey. Yeah, I know, real creative. With this merger, Standard Oil, New Jersey, became a global energy behemoth. They were pumping oil, refining it, and selling it all over the world. They were like the Beyoncé of the oil industry. Everyone knew their name, and they were raking in the cash. But just like Beyoncé, they had their fair share of controversies. Remember those grumbles about monopolies? Well, they hadn't gone away. In fact, some people argued that Standard Oil, New Jersey, was just as powerful and influential as its pre-breakup ancestor. And then there were the environmental concerns. As the world became increasingly aware of the impact of fossil fuels on the planet, Standard Oil, New Jersey, found itself in the crosshairs. After all, they were one of the biggest producers of the very stuff that was heating up the planet. In the 1970s, Standard Oil, New Jersey, decided it was time for a makeover. They needed a name that was catchy, memorable, and, well, didn't scream monopoly. So they went with Exxon. Catchy, right? Exxon continued to grow, acquiring other companies and expanding its reach. They were like that friend who shows up at a party and somehow knows everyone in the room. But with this growth came increased scrutiny, especially after a little incident in 1989. You might have heard of it, the Exxon Valdez oil spill. Yeah, that wasn't a good look. The Exxon Valdez, an oil tanker owned by, you guessed it, Exxon, ran aground in Alaska, spilling millions of gallons of crude oil into the pristine waters. It was an environmental disaster of epic proportions, and it tarnished Exxon's reputation, to say the least. Section 5, ExxonMobil, a merger for the ages. Despite the Valdez disaster, Exxon continued to be a major player in the oil industry. In fact, they were about to get even bigger. In 1999, Exxon merged with another oil giant, Mobil. This merger created the behemoth we know today as ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil was now a true titan of industry. They were the largest publicly traded company in the world with operations spanning the globe. They were like the Avengers of the oil industry. Except instead of saving the world, they were extracting oil from it. This merger gave ExxonMobil unprecedented power and influence. They had a seat at the table in every major energy discussion, and their decisions had ripple effects throughout the global economy. But with great power comes, well, you know how it goes. Section 6, the double-edged sword of success. ExxonMobil's success was undeniable. They provided fuel for the world, powering cars, planes, and industries. But this success came at a cost. The company's operations contributed to climate change, and their environmental track record was, let's just say, less than stellar. Remember the Exxon Valdez spill? That wasn't their only environmental mishap. Over the years, ExxonMobil was involved in numerous spills, leaks, and accidents. And then, there were the allegations that the company knew about the dangers of climate change for decades, but actively downplayed and even denied the science. Oof! These allegations led to lawsuits, investigations, and a whole lot of bad press for ExxonMobil. The company maintained its innocence, but the damage was done. The public was starting to see ExxonMobil not as a provider of energy, but as a polluter that was putting profits before people and the planet. Section 7. The Green Giant Awakens. In recent years, ExxonMobil has faced increasing pressure to address its environmental impact. The world is moving towards cleaner energy sources, and investors are starting to shy away from fossil fuel companies. Even the Avengers have to adapt, right? So, what's ExxonMobil doing about it? Well, they've started to invest in renewable energy like solar and wind power. They've also launched initiatives to reduce their carbon footprint and promote energy efficiency. But critics argue that these efforts are too little, too late. They say that ExxonMobil is just trying to greenwash its image while continuing to prioritize its core business extracting and selling fossil fuels. And to be fair, those are some pretty big accusations. Section 8. ExxonMobil in the hot seat. As of 2025, ExxonMobil finds itself at a crossroads. The world is demanding action on climate change, and the company's future hinges on its ability to adapt. Will they embrace a cleaner energy future, or will they cling to their fossil fuel past? That's a billion-dollar question, folks, and only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, ExxonMobil's story is far from over. Whether they like it or not, they're a major character in the drama that is climate change, and the world is watching to see what role they'll play in the next act. To be continued. Section 9. The future of ExxonMobil fueling the debate. So there you have it, folks. The story of ExxonMobil is a long and winding one, full of triumphs, tragedies, and more than a few controversies. They've shaped the world we live in, for better or for worse, and their actions will continue to have a profound impact on our collective future. What do you think? Will ExxonMobil rise to the challenge and become a leader in the clean energy transition? Or will they remain stuck in their old ways, clinging to a fading fossil fuel empire? The debate is far from over, and it's up to all of us to stay informed, engage in constructive dialogue, and demand accountability from the powerful players shaping our planet's destiny.